A quick meal. A quick meal, I challenge my students to a dish where I want it to have fire energy with the 4-level process, using black beans, rice. They use rice, I've used rice and quinoa, which is already cooking, and a pressed salad with cucumber. I've got a few carrots and a celery out of the garden. I've got a leek, which I want to add to the black beans, and avocado with some salad greens. So really simple. The rice is cooking. I'll be turning that off soon because I want to make a rice ball. So that's going to be needing to cool down. Ready to go. And I'll just clear the way here. Get the greens on the plate. We need lots of greens, especially when you're trying to lose weight. It's a really good form of balance. Clean that up. To have the greens in there because it just cuts through and breaks down the fat. It's got all the chlorophyll richness. I'm salivating already. And I've got some green beans out of the garden. So I might pop those actually now on top of the rice just to give them a little bit of a tenderize, just to steam that and save time. This was just cooked with 2 cups and a little bit more of water with rice and a pinch of salt. And here we go. I might actually use a few of those bits of kale steamed as well. Pop that in there. And a smidgen of those. More of a garnish than anything, but it's quite nice to have that little bit of a difference. A stowaway bean. So it's always nice to get the pressed salad on whilst we're waiting for the rice. And we're going to fork that to break that heavy skin. Now with a pressed salad, it's very important to do it really fine, otherwise it just doesn't ferment properly. So on the angle, really nice and fine. And I'm going to add a little bit of celery because it's so lush in the garden right now. And celery's got a lot of fire energy. It's been growing all through the summer, so we'll just get a little bit of that in there. That just because I'm going to make some lunch. I'm going to add some apple cider vinegar and a pinch of salt. Get that pressing nice first. I always like the way I rock when I'm doing this. Gets my hara working. So this time of year it's coming through into our New Zealand autumn next week. So you've got a combination of lots of fire energy foods in the garden, but you want to have the energy just starting to pull us into the winter. So you know, the rice is doing that with the quinoa. Quinoa is a fire grain, rice is a metal grain, so they're together just starting to come down a little bit. And let that ferment. The next thing I want to do is get the leek. Now this is, believe it or not, a leek. It's a very tiny leek, but it's quite nice when you can have them small like this. If you let them grow through the winter, of course, they're a lot bigger, but this is quite a nice, delicate leek, and it's just to add some lightness to the black beans. The mastery of cooking is the energy, not the nutrients. I'm going to turn that down. In fact, what I'll do is I'll swap those over because you can see the saute here. I'm going to crank that up a bit. Just give these a little bit of a wash. Right. And these beans here, carrot. I got this combination of colours, and these carrots are beautiful. There's yellow and orange. There's all sorts of colours here. I'm going to add those to the saute, which I'm using avocado oil because it's such a good New Zealand oil. It's prolifically grown, and it's quite a nice light oil. A pinch of salt just to bring out the sweetness and get that energy. Salt's quite yang, so it's metal energy pulling down. So a good combination, but it also is very important when you don't have a lot of salt in your diet from junk food, processed food, lots of breads and various things like that. It's really good to make sure that you do have it in your foods. And I might pop a little bit of that apple cider vinegar on there. It's been fermented, so it's really nice to let these fermented foods dance with the vegetables. I need to drain these. And they're going to be added to the leeks. I love it when I'm looking around for things to do when you've got such an easy meal that it's nearly done. I call it a lazy meal. I do a lot of lazy meals because they just can be made quickly and they're balanced and healthy and fun. And you start plating up when you're still cooking. Beautiful. You don't want to have them when they're brown, they've already started to lose their goodness. You want them when they're really soft, pliable, but still this lovely colour with the green on the outside and the yellow. And that's going to be cooling down there, and we can add this over here. The way you arrange the food is so important. Show the love. Now avocado are quite yin, so it's quite nice to add a little bit of tamari, which is the fermented part of the miso. It's the top, and that just really balances out quite nicely. Spoon. So we've got the 4-level process. We've got the energizing, the cleansing. This is going to be the strengthening, and the toning over here with the rice and quinoa. I've been quite generous with how much oil I've used here because we're coming into the winter and need a little bit more oil. It helps build up the warmth in the body. In the summer, you might have oil to give you a lot of energy, but coming into the winter, if you're not on a traditional high meat diet and high bread diet, etc., which heats the body up, you do need to keep the oils up a little bit, especially if they're good quality. You see how fine these are, really lovely and paper thin. I've got this on a high heat saute. Let that cool down a little. Just take the end bits off. Just got back from a swim race down in the 5 bridges down Hamilton Waikato way, which was quite exciting. A yearly event with my brother. Bit of a cheat it always feels like because you're going down river, of course. 7 kilometres, and it feels like it's lovely when you can look at the bottom and you just go, feel like an Olympic swimmer. And turn that up, let those juices all work together. Now I don't really have a lot of flavour in here. I've got the vegetables, the leeks, a little bit of salt and the oil. Salt balance the oil. The beans, they're quite a strong flavour anyway. And the carrots and all those are quite lovely to bring the juices forward. And little rice balls. So, just squeezing gently here. I'm just going to do 1 rice ball for this meal, because it's still quite hot here and carbs can be a little bit overdone, and you really want to keep things not cluttered. I've got 2 grains in here. I don't want to be mixing and matching other grains on the plate. We want our 4 levels real simple. So that can go there. And I'm going to add a little bit of basil to this dish here, just to give it a little bit of flavour. Black beans are probably the most difficult to cook with. They're quite dark and they're the most yang, but they also pull out a lot of sugars, so we don't want to have too many. I'm going to put these on top of this here. Some of those lovely carrots. And our pressed salad. That's quite lovely. So, the perfect 4-level process: energizing, cleansing, strengthening, and toning.